Welcome to VEDA, vlog every day in August, day 14. Talk about a trip you took with your family. I was thinking of another thing, but then there's another day that I could use that one for. But this one is when I took my sons on vacation. They'd never been on vacation before. And they were 13 and 15 years old. I worked and the kids went to school, and we lived in Mom's basement for 2.5 years, and I was able to save up enough money to just take off and go somewhere. So I asked my cousin in Philadelphia if we could stop by. So we were going to go that way. So we got in the car, and I had my maps. Maps. Focus, focus. Is that a map? Yeah, it's a map. I love my map book. Brian says it's stupid and I can use GPS, but I like the map book. I've always liked maps. Used to follow along when my family, when I was a kid, when we went someplace, I wanted the map so I knew where we were. Weird. Anyway, I told the kid, I helped them pack. I said, you're going to pack and you're going to need this and this and this. And they said, where are we going? I said, we're going on a vacation. They never had one. So what we did is I packed a cooler. One kid got to sit in the front, one kid got to sit in the back, and the cooler was in the back. And the cooler had meat and sandwich meat and fruits and veg, it had snacks and things in there and things to drink. And what we did was we drove to interesting places. I'm the geek, I'm the weirdo that drives to Metropolis, Illinois to see the giant Superman statue. And yes, we did go there. We went to the kind of thing, it's like the largest ball of twine or the deepest hand-dug well. I have seen that. That's in Colorado. But, we would go to Dick Van Dyke's hometown. That was an interesting stop. That was really an interesting stop. Some little old lady showed us what there was for that town, and there was some really cool things there. That's in Illinois. And we'd stop here and there. We'd stop mostly in towns that had a little town square. We'd have our picnic. I had a big old comforter that I bought from Goodwill for a couple bucks. We'd spread it out, and we'd sit and have a picnic, and there was usually a playground, and they could swing or play or whatever. And we went to Philadelphia to see my cousins. We visited my cousin Chuck and his wife Maureen, who were kind of crazy wacky to see us, but my cousin Chuck basically cut himself out of the family, so his sister doesn't even see him, who lives not that far away, about 1.5 miles. So we went to see my uncle and aunt and my cousin Sandy and her kids. And we got to stay there, and my Uncle Chuck took us to New Jersey, took us to the boardwalk, let the kids ride on some rides. I don't know if we bought candy, taffy, saltwater taffy is from New Jersey. And then I thanked them, and we drove up through Pennsylvania, through Hershey, Pennsylvania, and we stopped in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where it smells like chocolate. The whole town smells like chocolate, and each street light, every other street light looks like one of Hershey's Kisses wrapped up with silver, and every other street light looks like the opened Hershey Kiss, the chocolate. And we learned history of the place, and we went through a tour and bought a great big box of chocolate because it was cheaper to do that, and put it in the cooler. It didn't last. It kind of melted. It's still edible. And from there we went north. This was before you needed a passport to go to Canada. None of us had been out of the country ever. Only in our minds. So we decided to go to Niagara Falls to see what it was like. And on the way there's several kiosks and little buildings selling you vacation thing, like a hotel and a tour thing. So I was looking as we were driving and let's find the best deal we could. So I got a hotel for us and a tour. So we drove and drove. We drove, found the hotel. It was not the best, but you get what you pay for, right? I didn't have the money, but you know, it was just us. And oh, on the way up there, we stopped through Elmira, New York. That's where we stopped one night. And it was a little tiny log cabin. Each little cabin thing was like a little log cabin. They had a little black and white TV, and they had one big bed. The lady looked at us funny, like, well, I only have one bed. Like, we're just gonna sleep in it. And she'd look at me and said, these are my sons. You know, get your mind out of the gutter. But we stayed there, and the TV had some old hokey B-grade movies from the 50s, and the kids and I did our own. We turned the sound down and we did our own voices and story. Oh, we had the best time. And then we went up, found the deal in Niagara Falls, and we put the stuff in the hotel. And then we had to be someplace at a certain time for the tour. We got on this little tour bus, and the tour guide sounded like Alan Thicke. And we got to go up the Canadian side to a nice little park that had a clock made out of flowers on the hillside. And they had butterflies all over, and we stopped at a couple places. And all the other people on that tour were old people, and they looked like they had money, and they were all staying in fancy places. So the tour guide knew that I didn't have much money. So he came down when he was talking, and he came and stood by me, and he says, tell you where to eat. He says, go up the road about a mile to Basil's. That's where all of us guys eat. The tour guides and stuff. That's where the people, local people eat. And I thanked him, but then I didn't think much of it because I saw Denny's. The next morning we got up. Oh, we got to get out, go through the gift shop and down a tunnel and look out from behind the waterfall. Ooh, that was so cool. Really cool. And the next morning when we got up, we went a couple doors down to the Denny's, and we get in there and we're seated, and they hand us the menus, and it wasn't the Grand Slam for $3.99. It was $15. Like, oh shit. So we just kind of got up and left. And I said, and the kids were kind of grousing because they were hungry. And I said, let's see if we can find this Basil's place. So I said, if not, we'll just drive to another town or something. So we found the place. It was just a little tiny hole in the wall. It had a counter with 4 bar stool seats and 3 or 4 little tables. And the guy came over, and the man that on the tour guide suggested what we should get. So I said, we were told that we should get, and I told him, we got hash browns and a stack of pancakes and pea ham, which is a whole end of a smoked ham that had been rolled in pea meal or something, like cornmeal. Oh my God, that was the best breakfast I have ever had in my life. And it was inexpensive. Oh, that was so wonderful. Canadians are just so wonderful. I love Canada. It's so cold. But Canada is just beautiful. So we drove along the southern part of Canada and crossed over in Michigan or somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere. Or Chicago or somewhere. And we came down from there and went through my hometown, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And stopped by and said hi to my friend, and she took us, I think we had Chinese food or something, and then we drove the rest of the way home. So that was a vacation that the kids and I took. The only one, there was 2 that they've ever had in their whole life. The other, well, now they're grown up, they've been places, but I think the next year we went to Georgia to see my brother David, and they had a good time there too. But yeah, those are the only vacations that I had with my sons. They have since grown up and been able to go places and do things. But that's it. Upward and onward.